I'll do the intro.
Okay.
What's my intro?
Welcome on back.
We got our own intros.
Welcome on back, everybody, to another episode of Comic Conquest. Today we're back. Breakdown, review, predictions. I guess, yeah, but Agatha all along. Season finale on Halloween. And let's just talk about this August, right? Jumping into Agatha all along. The continuation of WandaVision, which is a show we both loved, but Agatha all along I had
0. I came into the same thing. I heard about it. I saw the trailers and went, okay, I'll watch it, but I'm not gonna enjoy it. I don't care. I'm not looking forward to this. And each week it won me over bit by bit, Cole.
they're trying to pick up so many from WandaVision, like a bunch of little stuff. And I was not into the show for probably about 2 to 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Like the first and second episode were cool, and then the second one was like a little better. And like as you said, like the third one, I was like, oh, this is okay.
First episode
but, like,
did not sell me on it.
No, it didn't, and that's definitely why they released 2.
Yeah.
They're smart. They're not idiots. But after like the singing demon episode with like the Power Rangers villain looking thing, I was like, oh wait, this is okay. Like this is like pretty decent. Like I would rate it higher than like Flash, like CDW level show.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then they just decided to cook out of nowhere. Right?
They're like, the oven was simply preheating. Get ready.
Dude, the build up was crazy. It was like, what the fuck?
Whoa.
Of course, the show goes over a lot. We gotta talk about Billy,
Spoilers.
Agatha, death. I mean, yeah. Spoiler alert. We're gonna
If you
jump into
didn't
some
know it
stuff
was
right now.
Billy episode 1, I don't know how to help you. I'm sorry.
But let's jump into our favorite moments of the show, August. For you, what was like your standout episode or like favorite moment you had?
I think I keep coming back to Lilia's episode. Honestly, that episode is beautiful. We fall into Lilia's perspective and we go through different points of time, and you start kind of at the end, then at the start, and then it's such a just well done. And honestly, Lilia is a character that is introduced in this show. I didn't really care about very much. I thought she was cool, but like this one episode alone makes you care for her. And then again, spoilers, she dies at the end, and I was like, damn, I'm kind of sad now because she was super cool. So this is like, I think the struggle this show had is they have so many characters they're trying to introduce at one time, because they're reintroducing you not just to like, they're not introducing you just these witches, but they also have to reintroduce Billy and tell this story of like what happened to this dude and why is he in a different body, which was like an interesting kind of twist that they thrown on that, which we'll hop into. But my favorite episode too, by far, the Lilia episode. I remember being like not that excited to see the episode, and I actually waited like to watch it with one of my friends, and then halfway through the episode I turned to her and I was like, holy shit, they're cooking. I was like, why are they cooking? Like, why am I so invested right now? Whoa.
Like this whole relationship and dynamic, it changed when they revealed it. It changed the dynamic of her relationship with every character in the show.
Literally.
Like her relationship with Jen, the kid. Like I was like, wait, what are we doing, son? This was crazy.
Yeah,
I just didn't expect them to have a massive like flip like they changed the dichotomy of the show, and that's what I really like about that twist they wrote in, is how much it changes so much of stuff. Like it was just good writing, right? For the first time, I felt like I could say that, like that's just good writing. Even like the cinematography started to become better. I was like, wait, what is happening here? Because like the first episode they were trying to do kind of like that WandaVision thing where it's like a sitcom a little bit. And then I thought that episode 2 was good when they revealed that she was like in her house pretending to be a cop, like a crazy person, and like all of Westview like goes and takes care of her. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, by far Lilia, my favorite episode. And
100%.
I mean, they introduced a lot of characters as we talked about. We had Jen, Lilia, and Alice, I believe.
Yeah, Alice.
And then of course we got Miss Hart again, and then Rio. And going into, because that was what, 7, right? Episode 7 was Lilia.
Yeah.
Going into 8, right? I was for sure thinking Jen was gonna die. I was like, oh, Jen's done. And that was an interesting thing too. Like Agatha bound Jen.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. I actually had to rewind when when like that twist kind of happened. I was like, I was a little confused, like how exactly.
Yeah, because this is like one of the gripes I have with the show that we'll just talk about quickly. Is like they're setting up so much that when they started paying stuff off, it felt like they have to go so fast to start paying stuff off because they only have so many episodes left. Because as I said, I felt like this show didn't really peak until like 7.
Yeah.
Like 6 was pretty good. I was like, oh, that's like interesting. But 7, I was like super invested. Episode 8, I was like, oh wait, they're cooking. Like they're cooking. Like this is like starting to turn out well. And then of course we found out Rio's death in episode 7, which I was like, wait, this is such a sick character just to throw in here. Hopefully they build something with her. The effects on her were super good. And then Agatha dies at the end.
Right?
And I was actually upset because the whole time, the only reason I was watching the show because I love Agatha's character, and Catherine Hahn does a great job of portraying like this. Like one of my favorite examples of her acting this character out is in episode 4 or 5 when she kills Alice.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, it was an accident. It's an accident. And then Billy's like, it wasn't an accident. She goes, no, bitch. I ate that shit up. And I was like, oh, shit, that's cold. Like,
yeah.
I love when she flips, like, and there's, like, a great just back and forth she has of playing every side. So I was upset to see her die in episode 8. And then at the end of the episode, August, they tease, like, maybe she's alive. Like, it's Billy in his room, like, realizing that the road is, like, all this parts of his room. And then you hear her voice, and I was like, the episode ends, and I was like, wait, they're cooking again! I was like, oh my god, bro. Stop! We'll talk about what I actually wanted to happen versus what actually happened in a bit, but what actually happens, of course, episode 9, we find out Billy made the road, and that Agatha the whole time, the road was fake. In episode 9, August, as much as I kind of don't like the ending, a beautiful episode. Like they really locked in and made just amazing story and writing for the like her explaining this dynamic she had with her son and why she was killing all these witches was to make sure that Death kept having to do stuff so she couldn't get her kid. Like I just loved that writing, and of course fleshing out characters is something big for me, and it makes sense with these characters. My issue comes like, okay, so Agatha's dead. Billy built the road, comes back as a ghost. Understand that happens in the comics. I felt like they just lost this part where she was killing witches for hundreds of years for no reason after.
Yeah.
Like, she's evil. And also, like, Billy killed people.
He
and
did.
we kind of just, like, threw that away. She was like, yeah, but I killed one, and then technically you saved one, so, like, we'll just...
I was gonna kill them all, actually.
She was like, yeah, so it's like, you really, like, you're net zero. And I was like, we're net zero? That's what we're doing now, and he's okay being net zero? Like, you killed my favorite character, bro. Literally.
I think my issue with the finale is that, or at least 8 and 9, is it kind of feels like Billy flip-flops a couple times, where he goes from, no, I hate you, Agatha, you're actually evil, to, here's my power! Like,
he was like, she saves his life, right? Yeah. And then he's like, no, I'm banishing you.
No, screw you. And then he's like, actually, here's some of my power. We're chill now. And then she's like, okay, here you go, Death, take him. And he's like, but why would you do that? And then she flip-flops a little bit. I don't know. There's some moments where I'm not sure that there's total payoff. I feel like maybe if there was a little bit of focus here and there on... I don't even know. There'd have to be earlier moments of Billy kind of alluding to more of his disdain for her, because he comes off like off rip. Billy's like fanboying over Agatha.
He's like low-key a glazer.
Yeah, he's like, well, who else would be able to?
The greatest witch of all time.
Yeah, and I mean, sure, he found a Wikipedia article, a fandom page about Agatha Harkness, and he's like, I learned everything. I don't think he should have known all of it. I think he should. This is kind of getting into what, like, episode 6 or something like that, where he learns about Agatha and you kind of learn his origin story. He just kind of, I feel like he learns a lot without earning it, I guess. Yeah, Ralph Boner. We learned from him. I feel like he should have been super cautious meeting her, because everything he would have found was that she was a witch killer. She was fighting Wanda and all this stuff. Like, even, like, any report should have had him kind of not fanboying over her, but very clearly, like, cautious but needing her help.
He's for sure, that character for me seems like the most, they're just trying to figure something out, because there's so many weird pieces to that, right? Like, they have to figure a way for him to get a body, and then he kind of has, like, this dark origin, right? Like, he's in this dead kid's body, and he lives with the parents that he doesn't know, which I felt like they didn't play into that enough. Like, he's living a life that he doesn't fully, like, they just skip ahead after he gets in the body. They skip ahead, like, 3 years later of, like, okay, like, I just live with these people now, like, whatever, I adapted. I felt like there's a lot of darkness that comes with that he's got to figure out, which they didn't lean into. I guess it's not his show, to be fair.
That's very true. I think he would have banished her 100% at the end. Yeah. Because he's trying to, like, banish her from the object she's bound to or something, right? I don't think throughout the entire through the show, even her sacrifice at the end to save him, I don't think he would have been like, okay, you get to stay around. I mean, I don't kind of see it. I know exactly why they didn't have him banish her, because they don't want to get rid of Catherine, because she's a great character. She did great as Agatha. Like, she's a fun character, and the fans loved her in WandaVision. That's how she got her own show, right? So why would you just get rid of her after a second appearance, right? But I just think in character, he would have been like, I don't care. You're evil. I'm not letting you have a third chance, basically.
So for me, like, what I wanted to see at the end of episode 8, when you hear her voice, I thought she wasn't dead. Like, she was. What I would have loved to see from this character is that she maybe directed his soul into that body, so she could, like, take his power, knowing that eventually he would come to her to figure stuff out. I would love for her to be, like, in charge the whole time. I would have loved also if she didn't die and she played him, like, she was playing with him the whole time, knowing kind of what she did in WandaVision was she noticed Wanda built this world, and then she went there to try to mess with Wanda, and kind of obtain power from the Scarlet Witch, right? I would have liked it to see her, like, maybe know she could have triggered him to build the road, which I love that the road was fake the whole time. Like, this thing that for centuries people have been talking about has been fake, rooted to her, just taking people's power. And it adds an interesting part back if you rewatch it, right? In episode 1 or 2, when they open the gate to the road, and she's like, what the hell? Like, that part now makes more sense, right? I love that, like, when they add aspects to that to the show. But I think it would have been interesting if she was setting him up the whole time, knowing that he's related to Wanda. He'll help set up a way for, like, a world for her to start, you know, taking all these other witches' powers. That's why she brings the other witches, right? She says to him, like, what were you gonna do with all those people in your basement? She's like, I was gonna kill them. Like, straight up, she says that to him. I was gonna kill them all. And I think that would have been super interesting if she knew, like, she had a game plan all along, like, it's Agatha all along. Because at the end of episode 8, and you hear her voice, I literally turned to my friend and I was like, it was Agatha all along.
That's the name of the show.
Like, when he's going through and realizing all the stuff in his room was the road, I was like, this would have been a crazy setup by her. I felt like that was kind of a wasted thing. The Rio death thing, I just don't think we got enough of that character, right? No. You're balancing so many things. I totally understand why. This will go into more predictions. We'll talk about that character, I think, because there's a lot to come for these two, because at the end of the show, of course, he helps Tommy get another dead body.
Yeah.
Which is like a weird concept that they are throwing in here. But Tommy gets a body. And so him and Agatha are going to go find Tommy.
Yeah.
Which I felt like the which we talked about too. The show ends on a note that's like happy, like, oh, Agatha's being good now. She's gonna go help find this dude's body. There's no mention of Wanda, of course, which you hear her and Vision's voice just when he's going to find a body and like experiencing his memories. I would have liked to hear some teaser, even if like it's Death being like, his mom cheated me too. Like I can't be cheated by this guy.
Yeah.
Like you could have given some thrown away to the fans, you know, to get them excited, because I don't know what public perception of that character is Billy, but I'm not like the biggest fan. I'm not a hater, but there's just like pieces of that missing for me when we're talking about that specific version of this character.
I kind of like, I wish, like you mentioned, that they really leaned into the kind of darker side of Billy's story. Like, they almost touched on it for a second where he's like, am I killing this kid to bring back my brother?
Yeah.
I kind of wish when he woke up, he kind of dwelled on that, the uncertainty of that question of if he just killed another person. Even in the argument that he has with Agatha following up, like I feel like that definitely should have come up where he's like, I think you just made me kill a boy. Like, I don't know. I think there's, I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do with Billy.
There's a lot of great points you just made too about like, they didn't let this stuff sit long enough for me. Like he just went through this life-changing experience. He thinks all these people he just met died. He goes back to his room and then he realizes that somehow he's connected to all this.
Yeah.
Like I think you could have let that sit before you like make Agatha there. Of course they have to wrap up the show. Like I kind of get it.
Yeah.
What are you feeling out of 10?
Review. So I think I would have liked it more if the Penguin wasn't also coming out at this time.
There's a review coming for that.
Don't worry, guys. We'll get there. Because it's showing me what the possibility of a superhero fantasy kind of world. I mean, they're different, but I mean, if you boil it down, it's a very similar plot. All that said, I do like this show. I mentioned that it won me over week to week. Every time an episode came out, I enjoyed it more. I think I have to give it realistically a 7.5, and that's not because I didn't enjoy it. I just think it has a lot of shortcomings when you think about some things like we have here. But overall, I think it's an enjoyable show. It's a good ride, some good interesting mysteries. I think it just needed some time to breathe at some aspects.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I mean, as we said at the beginning, we were expecting
Nothing.
So I'm at like a 7.25.
Yeah.
Too. I think we mentioned all the stuff that I think we have problems with.
Predictions.
Of course, we have characters like I don't understand. The MCU has so much stuff going on right now. Of course, the biggest thing, Secret Wars. I don't see this character Death coming into that. I don't know if Death will be like, maybe the only way I see Death coming back is like a Doctor Strange villain. I think that would be really cool and interesting to see like that. But I also am like, they teased like this incursion thing with Doctor Strange, so I'm not fully sure what's happening there.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas of like where we could see that character Death again?
Yeah, it's such a good question because Aubrey Plaza is also she's not a no-name, right? You don't just cast her and then not expect her to show up again. I have no idea where Death would show up. I know in the comics, Death and Thanos were very close. I also know that Death and Deadpool are even closer to Thanos's displeasement.
That Thanos relationship you're talking about was kind of what they had with Agatha. Like,
yeah,
Death was obsessed with Agatha in some way. I also, which we didn't really talk about, I want to give a shout out to Aubrey Plaza because she plays this role with such depth, right? You see like the softer side of Death when she comes to get Agatha's son, and she's like, wait, no, go say goodbye to your mom. Like, that's super sweet. And then she's also like creepy, show the mask, like, Agatha, come here, like, I'm gonna get your ass. And I thought that was really great for that character. Like, the softness she brought to it, I really enjoyed. And then, of course, like, the freaky skull face thing was
It's a very good interpretation of death, being soft when it's needed, but scary when it also is required. But again, I have no idea. I think Secret Wars is just anything could happen in that movie. I swear to God.
I just don't think we're gonna see death. Like, I don't think the issue I have is like these characters I just don't see fitting with the rest of the MCU in its current state. Of course that could change if they build like this Moon Knight supernatural stuff out, and the Blade movie that could be crazy
if that ever happens.
Yeah, delayed indefinitely, of course. An idea I was talking with one of my friends too is like, Billy's gonna have to show up in Young Avengers, right?
100%.
Does that mean we're gonna see like schizophrenic Billy talking to a ghost, and all the Young Avengers are like, who are you talking to? And it's like Agatha like, no, this is useless. Like, use a spell.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I can see Billy and Tommy fitting in way better with everything else, but
Yeah.
like, cause they could be the Doctor Strange Wanda replacement. I mean, that's kind of what Billy is, honestly. I think somebody said, some showrunner was like, Billy's now the most powerful sorcerer in that doesn't mean anything until they say it on screen. But that's the idea, is that he can do anything. I think you're right. Definitely Young Avengers is going to happen. They've teased that at the end of the Marvels. If anybody remembers that movie, Kate Bishop and Miss Marvel meet up. So they're building out that roster. In terms of other predictions, I know Vision Quest, if another thing a lot of people have forgotten about, is looking for a young teenager. So that's probably Tommy.
Tommy, or do you think that's like Vision's I heard like Vision's robot family's gonna be in that. Like, they're gonna try to make other Visions.
I think it was for a male teenager. I don't remember. So that could totally also be the son, because I know Vision has a daughter and a son, and then I don't know exactly what happens to that family, but they kind of disappear except for the daughter. But I still think Tommy or Billy could totally show up, like looking for their dad, being like, I need help finding the other brother or something. But other than that, predictions wise, I'm very not sure. Marvel is in a weird area where it's not easy to kind of predict what's happening, since they're changing everything so often, and they're kind of grasping at loose strands and trying to rein in what they do have a hold of. So yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Specifically I think Billy, of course, he's getting something else, whether that they throw that into Vision Quest or he gets his own spin-off.
Yeah.
And they make it like a TV show trilogy with WandaVision and Agatha, and then maybe like they'll do a Wiccan show or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have for prediction.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. Leave a comment down below what you thought. Leave a like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video, guys. Yeah. Bye.